Hey everyone, welcome back to Carrots and Olives. My name is Brittany, and today I wanted to give you an update on the 3 fountain pens I purchased from Atlas Stationer's sidewalk sale. These pens were the Benu Pixie, the Narwhal Eclipse, they call it the hepatizen with silver trim, and last but not least is the Stipula Novecento with gold leaf. Got some really good shots of it on my camera. So now you can kind of get a good idea. So let's see. Question 1, do they write now? So we had a lot of issues in my last video with mainly with these 2 pens, and they just did not write really well out of the box. Do they write now? Yes, they do write now. And that's just because I had to work on them. Now, I'm not someone who you would send pens to work on. I don't have all of the tools, but I did use a shim and one of the mesh screens to kind of, you know, make it a little bit smoother. It felt scratchy and some of them weren't really writing well. And another thing is to make sure that you try to switch out the inks, because not every ink is meant for every pen. Even though they say that they're fountain pen inks, it doesn't mean that it's going to work the same in every fountain pen. So you do have to play with the inks a little bit. All right, so they all write, and I'm actually really shocked at how well they write. I don't know if, like, maybe by me using my the shim and cleaning it out a little bit and also changing the ink, of course, but they're actually really great writers. There is I would say for the Stipula, I would like to see it in a fine. So I do plan to attend a fountain pen show in January. And if you are into fountain pen shows, you might know which one that is. This would probably be the first one I would get an upgraded nib, a Nibmeister, to make it into like a fine or even a cursive italic medium or even a cursive italic fine. It does write, and it's just very thick. It lays out a lot of ink, and I like it, but I think I would like it more if it were a little bit finer. So let's do top down, and let me show you how they write now. So I have a couple of different papers. I want to try these out, test them out for you guys. And I know in my last video, we only tested it out in the bank paper. So let me grab that too. We'll do some tests on the bank paper as well, so you could see how much better it is writing. So let's start off with the Narwhal. So this is 52 GSM. Chamoy River paper. Look at how juicy that is. This is in the fine. It's so wet now. I have no idea like how this happened. It went from hardly writing to now it's a gusher, and I absolutely love it. The ink I have in here, I switched out, and now it's the Leonardo blue, which has some sparkle to it. It's like has this green this really light blue-green sparkle, and it's very subtle. But because it's such a gusher, I see it a lot more, especially on Tomoe River paper. Now, this pen is quite chunky. I will say that it's actually really smooth and comfortable to hold. It's not like, for me personally, when you have a very small, narrow grip section, my hands tend to cramp up more. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but that tends to have me choose thicker pens. And this pen actually fits the bill. Like, I can write with it for a long period of time, and I enjoy writing with it. Okay, let me show you on pink paper. Just as wet. That's such a gusher, and it's fabulous. It's so fun. One thing I am not a huge fan of is that even though it's a click pen, I can't easily like click it by holding the grip section in this way, because it for me it takes two hands. So it's not like a one hand clicker, and even if I wanted to quickly use it, I still have to use both my hands to open the nib or use the nib. So you know, take it how it is. That's, if you're looking for a click pen that maybe isn't as expensive, but I mean, this one is writing very well. This may or may not fit what you need, but so far I'm actually very happy with it now that the nib is working as expected. So let's move on to the next pen. So the Stipula. Let's see. Now it writes, this one was writing very poorly last week until I worked on it. However, I think it has a little bit of baby's bottom because there is some hard starts. And it takes a minute to get it going. But this one's also a gusher. It's like, what did I do differently? um, Honestly, I just put some tines through the middle to clean it out a little bit, and then put it against the mesh, and it's writing. So I'm not sure about what happened, and maybe it was just like a little bit I needed to take off the nib to get it going. But it's writing really well, except for this one sometimes gets these hard starts. And I think the hard starts happen more when it's on like really slick paper or paper that may have some hand oils. It tends to skip over those. So this, I have the Van Diemen's. I didn't change out the ink on this. Le Grand Jeté. And this one has some really pretty colors. You can kind of see that it has like this green shimmer to it. Can't really see it on this paper right now at this angle, but it's such a gusher. Okay, Van Diemen. Now, I haven't been using this pen as much. And I actually haven't written with it in maybe like 2 days. And as I started it, you could see it just started writing. So once when the nibs are working, like this pen is actually very comfortable. The grip section isn't too narrow. It's actually, it's not the same width as the body. It has a little bit of concave in there, but it's not super concave that becomes, uh, you know, painful. At least for me, I don't think it is. But yeah, very wet. I think it's very pretty. The size is pretty big when it's just capped, and it has a little bit of a post here. It doesn't, you could use it if you have big hands. It just becomes super long for me and kind of pointless because the cap starts right at the end of my hand. So it's kind of like, I don't need it. But when it's this size, it's a really good size. Okay, and then last but not least, and I think I left off with that last video saying there is nothing wrong with this Benu. It writes wonderfully and it still writes really well, especially for a pen that has a cartridge in it. And I love that it's the extra fine. In the coffee brown, which is actually a really pretty color. It's not just one solid base color. It has some sparkle and some depth to it. And it's still subtle, right? Except for the size being really quite tiny. Again, this is an extra fine. And it writes very well. It's actually, for an extra fine, it's not that dry. It's also very wet. Now this one, it has the cartridge in it. I don't have any special ink other than the standard cartridge ink that it came with. I spelled that wrong. And it writes really well. I mean, there's no like stopping of the ink. There's no hard starts. The ink is flowing very well through the nib. And that hasn't always been the case with pens that have cartridges, which is why I always kind of like prefer not to use cartridges in bottles, on top of the fact that you have like endless amount of colors when you use bottles. But this one writes really well. Like I am, really close to just getting a whole bunch of cartridges for my Pixie rather than trying to get that little converter. And it's a blue color. Okay, so let's test another paper. This is Cosmo Air Light. And did you guys hear who is going to be stocking up on Cosmo Air Light for the 2026 planner year? If you know, put it in the comments below. So this is the Benu. Let's get you a little bit closer. This pen is very comfortable. Sometimes I find that if I don't really push down a little bit hard on the posting piece, it tends to kind of like shake off. and it actually has me question whether or not I have like an original Benu Pixie or not. And maybe you guys can help me out here. Maybe it was like certain colors that had the original. But it's really cute. Even my kids have noticed how tiny it is, and they're like asking me, why are you writing with this? I'm like, it's my fountain pen. It's really cute and compact. Okay, so let's look at this gusher. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's like super wet, and it definitely takes some time to dry. I notice when I use it in my A5 Hobonichi. If I just like tap it, a whole bunch of ink would be on my finger. And then this is Leonardo. I'm really impressed with this Leonardo blue, and I'm so happy I like realized how awesome this color is. It's just, it's like a deep blue, but has a little bit of that, you can see the shading, and then it has a little bit of sparkle to it, and I'll show you some examples. And then last but not least, nope, see, there's a hard start. Stipula, see, hard start again. And I'm sure it's the paper, because this one has like a little gloss on it, or at least that's what I kind of think. And this is the Van Diemen. So you can see how much thicker it is than the other two pens. Even with this one having so much ink, it would be probably almost really close to the Benu Pixie in the thickness of my lines if the ink wasn't so much coming out this at once. So let me show you some examples in my journal where I am coming across the ink a little thick, and it's bleeding. So you can see that sparkle up here. So I have been getting some areas where it like, this is the same pen and it gets super thick and blurry. And then it kind of thins out a little bit, but yeah. So that's what I've been experiencing lately. But I really do like the pens. I'm so happy and grateful that they work for me so far. I've been reading some of you guys' comments, how some of you guys think these are like super pretty. I think this color is really pretty. It is a lot bigger than what it may look like on camera. In fact, let me get something. So if I were to compare it to the Pilot Vanishing Point, it's a lot thicker and a bit taller. So it is kind of a big pen. If I compare it to my Leonardo 2.0, it's almost the same size. So kind of long, a little chunky, and maybe that's why it works for me. Let's see. Here's an Aurora 88. Not as long. And then let's look at that Stipula. So the two together, Stipula is slightly shorter, but the thickness is about the same. A Platinum 3776 compared to the Stipula. And then Leonardo 2.0, definitely bigger and girthier. And then, oh, Esterbrook. This is just Esterbrook SD. So it's not as tall as Esterbrook SD. And if we really want to bring the little Pixie into the mix, that one is extremely tiny. Extremely tiny. Let's see, Esterbrook. Extremely tiny. And the Vanishing Point. It is tiny. All right, well, that's all I have to share with you guys today. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for the love of my latest video. If you have any additional questions, let me know in the comments, and I will catch you next one. Bye.